the challenge that we have as sales is that sometimes the prospect believes it's a hard process to go through. So they want to take shortcuts. They don't want to give you the social security number. They don't want to send you the documents. They just want to know if they could do it. So this is what they're expecting, right? And so the faster that we set up the expectations, such as, oh no, it's super simple with us because we're a conduit to the source. We don't have all these middlemen stuff like broker fees or broker points, so I don't charge you that. Here's the only thing though, is that I can only help you. Meaning that if I can't provide you any benefit, I can't provide you an option. So I'm going to make sure that I can move forward with this conversation. If I can, then I'm going to show you exactly what we could do. Here's the best part is all these banks, all these brokers, they go to the same sources that I'm a direct plug to. So why you have access to my information, only if you qualify, is because as a consumer, you have right of understanding a better way. But here's the thing, I can only show you a better way is if you qualify for one. Let me ask you a few questions. Is this your primary residence? Is this your home? Perfect. Now you owe this much. Get it? It's not a sale. It's not saying, well, yeah, what rate do you have? It had nothing to do with rate. Because I understand that I'm not going to sell them rate. But if we go in expecting that we're selling them for rate, then we're stuck in marketing, right? We have to understand marketing, sales, and closing, these three different things. When we start combining the two and say, oh, fuck marketing, now I got to sell what's marketing. No, marketing sales is different. Get it? You're not selling that. You're selling a lower payment. He wants a lower rate because of a lower payment. So just keep the momentum going. It's just you got to keep them moving in that direction. That'll help you. And so there are certain things that we could say up front that's going to either attract them or require that we chase them. One thing that's going to require us to chase them later down the line is saying that we can beat that rate, meaning that you're now focused on rate, right? And that's going to require you chase them. Why? Is because they're going to find a lower rate and you're going to have to chase them to confirm that you still are the lowest. Or it's going to require you to chase exceptions from your manager just so that you could stay on the radar of the prospect. The focus is off. And so when we shift the focus away from rate and we talk about more benefit, like what Mac was saying, is be a consultant and talk about other things that our competitors are not talking about, right? But at the same time, when we dig into rate, like Travis was saying, is that we now give up, right? We're shifting the focus and now we're headed down a wrong path. So timing is important. But there's certain things to do also where if you feel you might have a flaky prospect, right? Like, oh man, this guy's never going to get the doc. This guy does not sound organized. His email was imnotorganized@gmail.com. And you're just like, man, this is going to be a nightmare. So test them. Say, hey, I'm going to need you to have the most recent pay stub and mortgage statement for our next call. I need to verify a few things, right? That's actually 25% of your steps right there. And if they can do that, then you got them. If not, then you're either talking to the wrong person or you know how far to hold them. You're not going to quote them anything accurate or before disclosures or full stip package. Make sense? Things to attract, like a rate lock, right? Like we have a very sensitive way of asking for steps or documents in a timely manner without sounding too aggressive. And so there are things that we could say to push them off. Like, oh yeah, the rates are going to go up. That's going to actually push them off because everyone is telling them that. And they're going to remember back in 2009 or 2010 or 12 or 14 or 13, that dip in the market and be like, oh, but the guy said that the rates are up. The rates dropped. They're going to remember that, right? But we understand where the market is. Again, we have an option on how to, kind of respond that information to the prospect, right? And so a better way to attract it is, for example, let's say you ask for lender credit. It's fair to say most of us ask for some sort of lender credit or some sort of exception, right? So even if I wasn't asking for lender credit and I needed to sell it at par because this guy's super rate cautious, right? And I'm charging this guy $3,600 and I'm getting an exception because OB shows me pricing of the rate that I know I could sell this guy at 98%. So I'm actually asking that for par. I get a response back. Now it's 1 point buy down. Just to get this guy a rate, plus he has $3,600. I have a choice. I can go into it and say, fuck. Okay, I got good news, bad news, right? But you're setting up the expectation wrong. Meaning that if you go into the conversation saying, this is what I got, they're going to feel it. and they're immediately going to be set up to say no. They're immediately going to be set up to say, let me compare or talk to my spouse, right? Versus a different tone. So if I had a choice and I knew this guy was rate cautious, he was fee cautious, I'm gonna give him a ring. I'm gonna say, hey, this is what I got for you. Now your total payment is this. You know what? I had a question real quick before I release the information. Let me just verify something. I noticed that you had a Chase credit card for $2,000. How much do you send on that card, Miss Singh? Right? Miss Singh says, oh, I send like $100. I'm trying to get it paid off as soon as possible. Perfect. I see another small account, about $800. How much are you sending on that Kohl's account? I'm sending about another $100. Got it. Right? So just that, I got $2,800 with $200 in cash flow. This is what's called ammunition. And so when I get a rebuttal, or I'm sorry, an objection, that now becomes my rebuttal. Does that make sense? Just out of curiosity, your escrow balance, what's the balance on that? Escrow balance says $3,000. Perfect. More ammunition. Get it? Now the total payment on your mortgage is $2,000 plus that $200 I got in my ammunition. Now it's $2,200 plus that $3,000 in escrow is now $5,200. You see where I'm getting at? And say, hey, I got an idea. I want to run it by you. I can get your payment from here to here with no cost, or here to here. But you're gonna have to bring in your payment. Now, meaning that this is, let me go through some math with you real quick. Have them write it down. You're going to get $5,200 in cash flow through this refinance, and this is just an example. Now, because you're going to have the deferred payment, you're going to have the escrow refund, I had an idea. What if you wiped out these credit cards and now I increase your payment by $200? Also, because of your income bracket, you need as much write-off as you can get. Man, I wish you could write off water. Right? And they'll be like, ha ha ha. Man, okay, I got an idea. With where you're at and the expectation that you set up on the first call, or the goals you talked about on the first call, this may very well be your last refinance, right? And you set the tone and say, if that's the case and your income bracket warrants, why not do this? Let's get this payment here. Okay, I'm not going to build any lender credit in the loan, because you don't need that. You need a rate that's going to determine it. You can up the rate and I'll give you more lender credit. I'll make this a free loan. But that's not your strategy. You warrant more than that, right? So here's an idea. Since you're going to free up $5,200, you're going to free up an extra $200 in payment. Why not do this? This payment will be this much in cost. Now you can either finance it or use that $5,200 to pay it off. Mind you, it's $3,600 plus what? 1 point, right? That's now $5,200. You guys get it? All right.
So using their deferred payment and what they're getting back from the escrows to give them the option to pay it off after you do the loan?
Correct, because the objection will say, no, I only hear fees. But without the solution and the answer to how it's, all they want is justification. That's it. Meaning that we have to now use our creativity to help them solve that problem. The issue is that when we tell them it without the solution, it's now just a problem. And they're going to look for another place without a problem. Got it? But before you can even go into the numbers, and a lot of agents will try and do this within the first 5 minutes of the call, and it's alarming. Don't do that. You know, you got to go through all that nice whining and dining, that nice conversation, and then you can go into it. But if you've done it right, then you got them for life. They will be your return client all the time. That is what you'll gain here. It's kind of a chess move, right? Like how to position yourself, and a lot of it has to do with the wordplay. You know, you have it, and also timing. So the wordplay where most is going to say, all right, I'm not able to get the lender credit. That's how they start the conversation. Holy shit. You lost them. Anything that they're listening to now is just out the window. All they heard was you couldn't do it, right? We're all guilty of it. I've done it. But when we realize that that's the exact reason why we lost that sale, was the first line was, hey, all right, so Jim, you know, I talked to my manager. He won't give me the lender credit. Now he just lost all attention. They're thinking of 99 reasons as to why to hang up on the phone on you. But the good news is you got all this ammunition. Hey, let me ask you something about that credit card. Now you're trying the tactics that you learned in the meeting. But it has to do with that one sentence. So again, the The wordplay is all it is. We're actually sometimes setting up our own walls, right? And we just don't realize it. But when we do, it just becomes magical because you're like, oh shit, that's exactly how I start my conversation. Much like the pitch. When you start the conversation, like I got option 1, option 2, and option 3, again, you're actually setting yourself up to be just an option. Whereas if you were to say, hey, I have an idea and I want to run it by you, and then start gathering a little bit more ammunition or present the offers as such, like, hey, you mentioned in our call you're spending $200, you said that you had less than $200 in the bank account. In that phone call you had mentioned that out of all your monthly net income, you guys are about check to check. With only $200 in the bank account, I had an idea, right? And this is very applicable to some of our situations. And say, I can get your payment from here to here, free up a monthly deferral, get you your escrow refund. You can wipe out this debt. Your FICO would be here and your bank balance would be here. In 6 months, you're going to be entitled to a complimentary refinance. This is something that we do for our clients. Now you're setting yourself up for redo, right? But here's the thing. You can get your payment from here to here, and it would be this, right? But you're going through that first versus the rate. Not saying, hey, I have an option. Regardless of what they say about that idea. Say, oh, yeah, you know what? That's just not for me. No worries. I thought you'd say that, and that's why I wanted to confirm with you real quick. Here's the other option, and then you go with the option that you know that they're going to do. But here's the thing is that when you go through that option, you know the pricing. They don't. You know the process of getting that pricing. They don't, right? And so you can downplay it and say, for example, if they wanted no closer, but you're only able to deliver 1,000, say, you know what? Right now I'm approved, and I can cover your appraisal. But I got an idea. If I get your documents by this time tomorrow, I'm gonna ask for my manager to double the lender credit because I got a full file. Should be super easy. I can help you, but he's gonna ask me for a full file, and then they'll respond, say, yeah, no worries, I'll get that because now they believe in it, they perceive it in a different light, right? Versus saying, hey, yeah, I can get you $1,000. It's gonna be a 45-day lock. Do you want it? Way different response. Versus saying, hey, I got an idea. If I can get all your documents in, I'm going to ask for this much lender credit. I never showed my full cards at the very beginning. Get it? Say, hey, you know what? I can't get any lender credit, and we know we can get 1629, right? You know what? I'm going to ask for the appraisal, which is $450. You know what? Hey, hold on one second. Hey, let me ask you. If I can get a full document in by this time tomorrow, I'm going to ask for this much in lender credit, no lender fee. That's $1629. And here's the reason why is because I have, there's a property inspection waiver. I don't need an appraisal. I'm only going to ask for 30 days, but he's going to ask me for a full file. What do you think? Yes, I want that $1629, right? Now you just created value where there was no value. Got it? Where a lot of times we're coming in, hey, I got option number 1, $1629 lender credit. Now it's just easy. It's like, fuck. Let me see how easy this is with someone else, right? And the pricing can't be necessarily covered until you, again, finesse it. Don't go right in the pricing. You have to get them in that mindset again. You don't realize that they had 4 hours of hell with the kids, making dinner, traffic. So they forgot about all that shit in the very first call. So before you unleash it with them, you have to put them back in that mindset. How? Is you go over the benefits you've gathered in that first call. What are the benefits? The benefits were you shared with me you guys plan to retire in 10 years. You shared with me the income for Lucy dropped. You shared with me that your income has increased, right? These are the certain things. You shared with me there's less than $500 in the bank. You shared with me you guys spent $1,000 towards these credit card debts. This is how to get them back in that mindset. More importantly, when you have the decision maker on that call, which you should, they're also going to realize that you're now on the same page. They're going to correct you, or they're going to say yes, and you need to engage with them. You need to say, does that sound about right, Lucy? Yeah, it sounds about right. Okay, cool. Hey, Lucy, I want to confirm something with you. At the end of each month, Jim said there's about $500 left in the bank account. Is that right? Yeah, right. Nope. I wish. Okay. Now, right? Now I got leverage. It's no longer about rate and fees. Get it? You need that. Because when I sell Lucy and Jim that 4.75 30-year fix, no lender credit, I need the leverage and kind of the justification, right, as to what's gonna happen in 6 months when we help Lucy and Jim take up their FICO from fucking 620 to 700. In 12 months, when Lucy and Jim now have $12,000 in the bank and they've never had a balance over $500, right? When Lucy and Jim now are able to fix the air conditioning and not rely on just the open window. These are the shit that plays a day-to-day in their decision making, right? In answer to having $3,000 to pay for the summer trip that they should have never gone on, right? Or $2,000 extra to now pay because little Jimmy crashed the fucking truck. These are all little answers that they're looking for. It's not the rate and fees. Cool? Cool. So got a few more minutes, man. I appreciate it. I know we're covering a lot of information, and I know that helps on how to sell rate and fees. Make sense? You guys got any questions on that?